Welcome to Cowgirl Talk, where we empower you to live authentically through real food, real talk, and real life. Sisters brought together by our love of cows. We're your host, Emily, a dairy lover and personal trainer living in Florida.
And Becca, a corporate cowgirl holding down the family fort in Pennsylvania. Let's go, cowgirls!
Hello, and welcome back to Cowgirl Talk. So we are on episode 46 of Cowgirl Talk. And today's episode is all about transitioning from college to career. And obviously, Becca and I are well past, I guess you could say, well past
11 years.
Yeah,
past.
She's 11 past. I graduated in 2017, so 8 years past graduating college. And I know we're kind of well past that stage in our life a little bit, but we know that it's first off April already, and college graduation is coming up soon. And I know we have a little bit of a variety of age in our listeners, and college is so much fun. The real world is also so much fun, but we know sometimes that transition from college to career can be a lot of mixed emotions. And we actually, last summer, it was in July of last year, after our episode of me kind of interviewing Becca, of Becca being a corporate cowgirl, one of our followers and a fellow dairy gal, Maddie McBride, messaged us about a really cool topic. And she said, I just would love to listen to a podcast chatting about the transition from college to career. I feel like I really struggled when I first made that jump. And if others did too, it could be great to hear about that, to learn how they navigated that transition. Plus, she's like, if I was in college now, it also could have been a helpful heads up. So I'm not calling Becca and I experts on the college transition, but I feel like it'll be fun for us to provide two different perspectives, because Becca, you had a really awesome transition from college into what felt like dream career, awesome lined up, where my post-college path was kind of bumpy and didn't necessarily go to plan. So I won't give too many deets away, but yeah, we'll provide some different perspectives there.
Yeah, spoiler alert, my transition wasn't perfect.
Oh.
My first job wasn't perfect. It was kind of like I was a glorified intern. So, but then luckily I somehow curated my dream job about a year and a half in. So from connections that I had made, and a new boss started, and I basically curated my dream career. I think intentionally, but maybe not as intentionally as I thought I did.
Yeah, you can look back on it now, realize that.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I'm going to learn some new things today. Okay, so before we dive into all things college, which, funny, I was looking at my Snapchat yesterday, and, you know, all the memories pop up. And 8 years ago, because it was 2017, my senior year, we both went to Penn State, by the way, which doesn't really matter, but she'll get the reference, is we were at Champs, which, did Champs, the new Champs open? No, it didn't open yet when you were still there?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it was, the building was there. I don't remember what it was when you were there. It was a really big building.
I think it was it Chili's?
Oh, yeah, I think it was a Chili's. So
it was
definitely not a bar vibe. But we were out that night on my Snapchat memory, and I think it was My Hero Zero was performing, and just the drunk videos I was taking of us singing. Oh, oh, oh. Oh God, this is terrible. So
that's funny.
Glad I don't have many more videos of myself like that post-college. Yeah. But now we can talk about our high-low buffaloes to start. And I'm going to go first on my high. Becca was like, I need some time to think, because unlike last week,
don't know.
Where Becca was on top of the podcast game, Becca did not give us any notes ahead of time.
No.
So
you guys are lucky. I woke up to only be 10 minutes late.
I know. We always, every night before, let's start recording by this time. Never happens.
6:15. It's like 6:27. Whatever.
We're getting closer.
I was making my coffee by 6:15, so we're good.
It gives us a little bit of a deadline, you know?
Yeah.
But my high, it hasn't technically happened yet, because we're filming this kind of midweek. But tomorrow then, which is Friday of the week before, when you all are listening to this, I am. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Okay, well, so in better dates, Ruben's birthday is April 6th, so Sunday, April 6th.
Oh, nice.
And so tomorrow, which is Friday, April 4th, I got us, and more so Ruben, but Braves tickets for his birthday. And so we're going to be going to the Atlanta Braves game, and it's the home opener. So I'm excited. And it's honestly supposed to be pretty toasty, pretty warm, but it's a night game, so I'm hoping it's pretty solid weather. I will say, I think as of yesterday still, the Braves have an 0-5 start, which kind of sucks. But there's so much baseball, right? But it's a home opener. I feel like the energy is going to be great. It's a really cool stadium. And I haven't been to the Braves home game in quite a while. And baseball's just so much fun. So I'm very excited.
I know. I don't really like watching baseball, and I don't really care about baseball unless it's in person.
Yeah. The
Like,
whole
on the
atmosphere.
TV, snooze.
Yeah.
It's just, like, too much.
Well, it's
You guys
kind of
play
like...
You guys play too many games.
That's the thing. It is non-stop. It's kind of like NBA to me a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, what's the importance of this game if there's going to be 100 more?
It
Like,
is a
tell me
ton
when
of
it
games.
matters.
It is a lot of games that they have to play. I don't even know how many, but I mean, yeah, they're starting till March, potentially running until
God.
October, and multiple games a week. So it's pretty
Yeah.
nonstop.
Also, I'll try not to have a curmudgeon attitude. I just had a really bad night.
Becca's low. I made Becca do some what would you say, research?
Podcast research,
Yeah.
and it was such a bad experience.
Yeah, I made Becca do some research for this episode for our hot take at the end, and I know Becca wants to use that as her low, and I'm like, you
But I
can't. You can't, because we have to save it for the end.
I can't even have a high. I'm so upset.
It may not be what y'all think. I think she can give you a teaser with the low, but
Yeah.
was
okay.
there
So my high.
any high in your week that I'll give it this meal did not ruin? Sounds really dramatic when you say it like that.
Oh man.
No, my world sucks because this meal was the worst.
No, this is awful. So I would say, okay, last week for work, did I talk about our annual meeting on our last episode?
I think so. Yes. Yes, you talked about like creating cool products or.
I was gonna make that my high.
Okay, come on, man. It's Thursday. We've had a couple of days of the week. Oh, how was tennis on Sunday?
Oh my God, that
Thank
should
God
have
for
been my
me
high.
for a
Thank
little
God for you.
bit of positive spin.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is my high.
Dad called me that day, and he used some choice words, but he was like,
he was really upset with himself. He was
he
like in the
shredded
corner.
himself.
Yeah, you should have heard him IRL in the corner, like, get the fucking ball, Steve. Are you kidding me? I was like, okay, well now I know where I get my issues from.
Oh, poor Steve.
Usually I win like 1 or 2 games. Right? Like we just play games. We don't do set, match, whatever. It's just games. And I went 7-0 against them.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I ended up 8-1 for all the games I played. Yeah.
Damn. So
Yes.
Dad and
So
Joe
I'm really
alternate?
good. Well, we just rotate the 3 of us. Like we just like you'll play. So basically, if Joey and I are playing, then I'll leave the court, then Dad will come on, then Joey will leave the court, then I'll come on. So we're always rotating a game.
Oh my gosh. So in all of your one-on-one matches, you were 8-1.
Yeah, because I'm awesome. I'm
Damn.
amazing.
Watch out.
I know. Dad and Joe were so mad. They were so mad.
That's also, yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we didn't know Dad when he was young because we weren't alive yet. But I know Joe is ultra competitive when it comes to golf. So I can imagine when it comes to tennis, and that makes me smile to hear him lose and have to get angry about it. Like, you need to work on your sportsmanship.
Well, I'm like their guaranteed wins, basically.
You're their confidence boost for the week.
And then I go 7-0, like, fuck y'all.
Oh, yeah, I'm
amazing.
the best. Y'all thought you could beat me again. They're going to rethink Sunday tennis with you now.
I don't think we're playing tennis this weekend. No, conveniently, Dad has not asked me to book a court yet.
What a butthead. He's probably
They'll
sore.
probably golf.
And they're like, we need another
We did. I think the thing is like, usually I mess up. I mean, that's basically what any sport is waiting for the other team to mess up.
But they kept messing up more.
They're like, Becca, you keep returning it. Like, you keep returning it. Usually you don't.
You usually don't even get it back to like volley with it.
They actually had to work and like rally and volley with me. I was like, sorry.
Well,
Because I'm a real tennis player now.
When you get it going a little bit, then they start to crumble.
Yeah. So, that was my high. Okay, I have one.
That's awesome.
Now I have to think. Yeah. Okay, so now I gotta think of a buffalo. What's yours?
Well, you're low. Do you want to give a little bit of a teaser?
I have.
Or if you have another low.
This can be. I do have another low. This can be my buffalo.
Okay.
Something interesting happened to me last night.
It sounds so dramatic.
And all I will say is that the best part of our experiment last night was the pickle lemonade, and it wasn't gross.
That's really all I wanted specifically asked you to try.
Yeah,
the other
pickle
things
lemonade wasn't gross, and I was shocked that I took more than one sip. I didn't drink the whole thing. I was like, meh.
Yeah.
But I took like a decent amount of sips.
Okay. So
that's my buffalo.
That's a teaser for a hot take at the end.
Yeah. So, what's your buffalo?
Okay, well, my buffalo and lows kind of tie together a little bit. So we always make a joke of, not always, I've literally been here 3 weeks. Well, we moved about 3 weeks ago now. And the joke of it's kind of like a family compound now, just all of the houses are technically walkable. And so last night I walked on over to Monica's, my sister-in-law, and then Thomas was also there because, Ruben's out of town. Like, would have gone anyways, but we just had dinner there last night. And to watch it, God, my brain, she doesn't have YouTube TV, so you have to watch recordings or things that have already happened. So we caught up on Farmer Wants a Wife.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I have not watched it before. And
is it good?
I don't really watch any of the dating shows at all, even on Netflix or on TV, whatever it may be. But, we're farmers. We want to see Farmer Wants a Wife. And the farmers are pretty cute and handsome this season.
Very cute.
They upped the ante on it. I think they received some feedback like, hey guys, if we're doing a dating show where we want younger or any women to watch, we got to get some, hot men on there. So the farmers are very handsome this season. So we're like, screw it, we'll watch it. So we watched the first 2 episodes. And tonight now, it airs Thursday nights at 9:00. So Monica's going to come over to our house because we can watch it live. So I think
that's awesome.
That might be our weekly tradition potentially. So that's the buffalo. But the low is while I was there, the dinner was good. Monica cooked. We just did beef, potatoes, green beans. But I'll try not to gag. Okay. Nothing about the food, but Monica has a cat. And have you seen pictures of the cat?
Mm-mm.
So it's I don't know, you know how what's like a fluffy kind of Siamese cat look like? The gray, really fluffy cats with long hair.
You mean like that Rob and Tiff have?
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, but it's not that. It's a mix of something. But it's just a really pretty cat. She has the blue eyes, the gray kind of longer hair, and she's a bobtail. I mean, she is a bobtail cat. Anyways, she's shedding a lot right now, I guess. And we were about to walk out, and there was this long tube-looking thing. Ew. And I didn't even see it first, but Monica started screaming, "What the fuck is that? What is that?" And starts yelling. And it was a ginormous hairball, I guess. And, ew. Oh my God. Okay.
I thought you were going to say like a worm or something.
No.
It had worms or something.
First, it looked like a big caterpillar. It was so long. It was like a little torpedo. And at the end of it...
She's lucky that didn't kill that cat.
Well, I mean, hairballs are normal, I guess. But it was a long hairball. So this isn't a ball. This is like a hair sausage. And you could tell at the end of it just that she had puked it out because, like, is this a
Obviously.
turd? That would be a big turd for a small cat. But it was a hairball, and it smelt bad. And my pregnancy gag reflex is just really strong right now. But Monica was also gagging. I sent some Snapchats last night. But you guys probably didn't know what was going on. Now there's some context to it.
Oh, wait, I have this on Snapchat to look at.
Yeah. Of Monica
gonna
just
look at it now.
yelling. No, it's kind of loud.
Oh, okay, I'll watch it after.
Of Monica yelling of, what is this? And then some gagging going on.
Well, does she, like, brush the cat, or does it just kind of, like, do its own... I mean, it's just, like, licking itself, I guess, to get the hair off.
Yeah, and she's not sure if it's maybe something with the food right now of why would we be losing, not globs of hair, but seemed to me a little more than usual. But I don't know if cats go through shedding seasons because we're in spring. It's starting to get hot.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I
a
have no
cat
idea.
girl, but
That's
Monica kept
gross.
saying, time to get rid of this cat. I'm not a cat girl anymore.
Monica should go on Farmer Wants a Wife.
We were talking about it. I kept telling her, I was like, girl, you messed up this season because there's a
The
couple.
one looks like Riley Green.
Oh, Matt, that's the one I like. Also, I love
I
my
know.
husband. I'm not dating. I'm married to a farmer. And I would pick Ruben if he was on the show. But for who's on the show, Matt is a avocado and exotic fruit farmer in California. And his
Oh.
house overlooks, like, it's in a valley. It's so cool looking. And he just smiles all the time. He's so cute.
Sounds like he might be selling something else to have a house like that.
Yeah, well, it's definitely probably not first generation if you're having that large of a farm in California.
Yeah, no, for
Well,
sure.
it's not a huge house. It just overlooks. It's just up on a hill, and it's just so cool. And then there's another one, John, who is rich, and Monica likes him a little bit more. Their house it's like a plantation mansion thing. It's huge in St. Louis, and he's going to be a lawyer.
Oh,
Farmer
so
and
are they
lawyer.
all, like, produce farmers?
No, they have John is their family's sixth generation, wheat, corn, and soybean in Missouri. So
Okay,
probably
so
like a pretty
crops.
large operation. Yeah, crops. And then the one guy has some horses, or he's like a colt trainer. And then the one guy's in Alabama, and I think they have a small beef operation.
Oh, okay. So there's some animals there.
Yeah, got
I
some
guess the
animals.
moral of the story is apparently the wheat farmers have all the money.
Yeah, and he's the most generations in too. So it's Pritz and Mass. So yeah,
There's
Monica
4
messed
of
up.
them?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's interesting. The setup's
Okay.
a little different, so won't give too much away. But we're gonna keep watching it because it is kind of entertaining.
I like it.
Yes.
Milo is not nearly as exciting.
Well, that's good.
but
You don't want
it's
hairballs all the
just-
time.
Honestly, I think I would take a hairball over this, to be honest.
Ooh.
Our ticks are so bad.
Ew.
I know, it's really gross. And
Last week we talked about y'all getting fogged or something or sprayed.
yeah, they haven't called me back to give me a day yet, which is really
It
frustrating.
can't
I
be
called
that
again.
hard.
I literally called again yesterday. I said, I'm going to keep calling until you tell me when they're coming because it's every day.
Ew.
It's every day. And so, well, Joey, he did not dress properly to be outside power washing.
Now you have to
The
think of wearing like coverage.
Yeah, so he just wore jeans and regular shoes. And I was like, well, did you wear high socks? He goes, no. I'm like, okay, well then Phoebe didn't bring the ticks in the house. You did.
You're the problem.
I know, he's like blaming Phoebe to his parents. I'm like, no, it was you. Like we've been lint rolling her every night, brushing her every night, or like every time she comes in. It's kind of a pain in the ass.
That is wild.
But the other night he was power washing the deck, and they must like to crawl up on high bushes so they have a better chance of jumping on things because they're like
Ew.
evil things. I don't know, whatever. And
The devil's creation.
yeah, exactly. And so he had one on him when he came in. We saw it right away. He like felt it. And then at like 12:30 while we were sleeping, he woke me up to go check myself. He's like, I just found 2 ticks on me. So then I'm like, okay, now they're in the
How am I
bed.
going to sleep?
I didn't. I was going to go to a workout Tuesday morning, and I was a 5 a.m. workout, and I did not sleep the rest of the night, so I did not go to that workout. I was like, I stripped the bed, whatever, but it's just gross.
That's crazy.
And they're everywhere. It was like we were just in the yard. We weren't even in the woods.
Yeah, because we grew up in the middle of the woods, like even more so than that house.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't remember that being a problem.
I literally don't remember ticks growing up.
No, at all. I remember Tyler had one time, and it was kind of funny because it was just so rare, and everyone was like, oh my God. But
Yeah.
you guys must have, that house must be in a, I don't know, a tick nest? Is that a thing?
I don't know. I mean, they just let leaves kind of like rot for a while.
But
they never really cleaned them up. So I think it's just, and then Joe is leaf blowing them. So I think it's just they're everywhere.
Oh,
so
man,
we've got
that's,
to eradicate them.
that's crazy, though. That seems excessive.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So that's been an awful low. And the fact that this guy is taking so long to come to our yard that we called, I think we're just going to get like the equipment and the chemicals ourselves to do it.
Yeah, screw it. Could getting someone to spray in the house, like a indoor bug person, we just had someone spray yesterday here. Would that do anything for ticks once they're inside, or they're just so resilient it literally wouldn't matter?
No, I think what you have to kill them with, you should not have inside.
Yeah, it's actually, this is not human friendly.
Yeah, no. So, but that's a real low.
Ew, man. Apologies, that sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. So
Well, anyone listening who's
hopefully-
tick advice, please give it to
Yeah.
Becca, because that's maybe everyone around you does spray, so then they all flock to the one
Maybe.
house that hasn't sprayed yet. I don't know. That just seems so wild that they are there in that large of an amount.
I know, it's insane. Like for him to have 3 on him in one night,
That's crazy.
that's ridiculous.
I'm scared.
Yeah. So, that's what we're dealing with.
Well, we both had some gross heebie-jeebie lows. Yours
Yuck.
is definitely worse. Yay, you win the award for worst low this week. And I would say that's worse than the teaser we're going to talk about at the end.
Way worse.
I hope so.
Actual low.
I hope your
Not
meal
an
could not have
actual
been worse than that.
I mean, it was close. It was so awful.
Oh, God, okay. Before we go off the rails, let's now dive into the episode. Or obviously we're in the episode. We've been in it. Let's dive into the meat and potatoes of it, of just kind of going back and forth, having a little bit of a conversation around transitioning from college to career. And I made a few talking points, as you could say, and I feel like the order of it kind of makes sense. But I think one of the biggest ones that I think we should talk about that Becca, I would say, you know, I'm good at, but Becca seems to be really good at and can really direct the whole, like, kind of stage of your life, your career, is networking, is creating connections, finding the right people. So I think that can make a huge difference on what your college experience looks like, post-college, and again, that transition life, or that transition in your life. So I want to talk about the importance of networking in college, plus after, of course, because you can't stop, and different ways to do so. So Becca, let's hear it from you first. And this can be a combination of maybe how to start that in college, because if anyone is in college still listening, of ways to get involved, and then afterwards as well, how do you keep up those connections? Because that, I think, might be one of the hardest parts, is when you leave college, you're not just surrounded by anything and everyone anymore, right? College, you are literally just surrounded by opportunity, and then you leave that, it's like, oh, I have to do this myself now.
Yeah. I'm going to give a story that I feel like kind of covers this.
Ooh.
And then I'll give my, like, points of advice. And also, people in college now have it so much easier. Not, I don't mean that to demean.
Wow, what a boomer thing to say.
I know, right? But, like, you have LinkedIn, you have social media. I mean, we
ChatGPT.
also had it. ChatGPT, like, literally. I see that. I'm like, I passed college without ChatGPT.
We're geniuses.
could really use that for calc and accounting. But just now that you have literally the world at your fingertips
True.
on your phone.
Very
And
true.
a bazillion ways to easily keep track of people. But so did we, pretty much. So I feel like we were kind of at the beginning stages of having a virtual connection with people, which is really helpful. And so through college, I had a couple of internships. One I got at Bader Rudder, which is a marketing agency in Wisconsin. My dairy judging coach, so my dairy judging team, he introduced me to Josh Hushon. And so Josh must have been asking Dale, like, you know, he was a Penn State grad too. Do you have anyone who's interested in marketing and communications and would want to come be an intern at Beta Rudder? And Dale was like, oh, I think Dale just assumed, oh, I talk a lot. And
You're like business.
I like to have fun, so that sounds like agency. So I interviewed with Josh, and then I sent him my resume. I will never forget, he literally brutally ripped it up, like
Love
with a
that.
red pen, or like just took a red pen to it and said, I'm not giving this resume to my CEO. Here's like my offer for suggestions. And, you know, having a person like that, like, give me honest feedback. I was not seeking out honest feedback. I thought I had the best resume in the world. Apparently I
you.
didn't. And so, you know, that was like the start of a really good connection and having a really good professional mentor that just kind of, while it fell into my lap, I recognized it, and I took advantage of that, or I leaned into the opportunity, and I had that internship and built a really great relationship with everyone there. And so whenever I graduated, you know, I thought I was going to move back out to Milwaukee where Beta Rudder was located. But then our dad got cancer, and that kind of hit me like, you know, I don't want to move away that far. If I move, I want to be a drive, or I want to have an easier way to get home. I don't know, something about that hit me, and I was like, I'm not moving. Unless I have a better reason to. And so fast forward, I got a job out of Cargill because while Dad had said butt cancer,
It was colon cancer, everyone. Intestinal.
while he had said colon cancer, he had this national sales meeting with Cargill.
Oh gosh, I
and
forgot about this.
Yeah, I helped him like put together a video and get everything sent over to someone named EB who was helping manage it. And like, I asked Dad, so who's EB and who's Tom Taylor? He's like, why are you emailing Tom Taylor? I was like, I don't know. EB brought him in. He's like, that's my boss. I was like, oh, so who's EB? And he was like, oh, she's the head of marketing. I'm like, I'm going to shoot my shot. So I emailed them my resume and my blog. I was a blogger. I was an influencer wannabe for like a second in college. And I just sent it over. I was like, here's this. And I sent them some of my work from Beta Rudder that I did for Zoetis. I was like, if you have any positions open, please send me the link. I'd love to apply. And I got a job with Cargill. Literally through that. So, cool. Dad, glad you're okay. You got me a job.
Yay!
It's just crazy how those things work out. And then where the story ends, at least in that kind of college transition, is that job was good. It was fine, but I really didn't do a lot. I was basically a glorified intern that didn't have any real sense of direction or responsibility in the role. And EB and the team were great, but after having a boss and like I had at my bosses at my internships, and then working at the agency where they were like a little tougher and they had higher expectations of you, I just was like, this is kind of not making me better, and I'm kind of bored. And so I remember, I think it was someone was like, hey, you've talked about this Josh guy a lot. We want to start a dairy marketing team specifically. So I was all species. I literally used to write for Scoop from the Coop for their chicken blog. Like, ask me about chickens. I know a few things.
There we go.
From what I Googled and then wrote about. And so I was like, oh yeah. And he goes, okay, well, tell him to apply. And I literally forgot. And then it was like 2 days before it was due. And I remember even Dad asked me, he's like, did you ever tell Josh to apply for this? I'm like, oh my God, no, I forgot. He was like, okay, well, I'm going to call him. So Dad called him. And then I also Facebook messaged him. I was like, hey, like, this would be perfect for you. And also, if you join, like, I'm really not, like, I would love to be dairy marketing specifically. So, like,
Yeah.
you should come do this and we should do dairy marketing together at Cargill. So he applied, like, I feel like the day before it was due or the day it was due.
Love that.
He got the job. Dad says he's the one who got Josh to go to Cargill. I say I'm the one who got Josh to go to Cargill.
Technically Dad then, though. It seems.
Whatever. Anyways, I was the one who made the connection.
Yes.
So, that being said, he did join Cargill, and then that's when I was a part of working with him in Justin House, who was also there, and he was already kind of a dairy marketer, but more on the strategy side, not the, like, traditional advertising and communication side. And the three of us really, like, built dairy marketing. And then Laura Pierce came in, and then Becca came in. Well, now Bennett, sorry.
OG names.
She got married. And then Molly Draybook came in, and it was just like, I love
the
my
dream
team
team.
now.
The Avengers
It
were
was
assembling.
Literally, it was, I don't ever expect to have a job or a team dynamic or relationship like that ever again. I don't know if I ever want it again, to be honest. It was like such a cool thing once, but it was also in a time in my life where like work was everything.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like that's a really cool story of how from dairy judging in college, recognizing an opportunity, and then kind of carrying that one moment of networking through an internship and 2 careers, like 2 jobs within the same company, just shows the importance of like not only networking but recognizing when you've made a really meaningful connection and how you can ride that out. So I think the advice there is, one, you join groups and network within college.
Yep.
Example, dairy club and dairy judging.
Love Dairy Science Club.
I loved it.
Even AZ, fraternities or sororities.
Yeah. Yep. And then you network outside of college. So I was at World Dairy Expo networking. Like, you've got to get outside of your bubble.
Yep.
And then ways to manage that is, honestly, I just kept up with people on LinkedIn and Facebook.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, I really like that person. I just follow them. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I mean, if you thought that story, like, kind of answered the question. It was a really long story. Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. That was great because I think it brings up a couple good points, like you said, and like you summarized at the end, of just how different moments and different stages of life, and if you foster those things, can really lead into something potentially unexpected, right? So, it, like you said, it's finding ways to get involved from the get-go and in college from the start. And you don't have to be the, like, I know Becca and I, we were all very involved, just super involved, taking on leadership positions and putting ourselves out there, which can definitely help. I know not everyone's like that. If you're maybe more of a quiet person or you want to get involved, but maybe do it from behind the scenes a little bit, still getting involved in some capacity is going to lead you to people that you align with or opportunities that you align with, right? And so
Yeah.
I think that's really important, of just, again, finding different clubs, organizations, and then internships as well, putting yourself out there, and like you said, kind of latching on to someone that you recognize, and it's not taking advantage of, it's just utilizing the resources that you have, whether that's a professor, an advisor, or a previous boss that you had an internship with, or post-college, you know, an employee, or no, not employee, employer or a coworker, and really just fostering that relationship, knowing that, hey, this could really kind of take us somewhere.
Yeah. And I think, too, you know, another less dramatic of a storyline of a connection, you know, and networking that was still important is whether it's internships or jobs in college that make you meaningful connections. I had an internship at the Center for Dairy Excellence in Harrisburg. And you know what? I still work with them today. It's kind of full circle, like in my job now. And also, they run an event every year, and they hired hired me as a 8 a.m. keynote speaker.
Yeah.
Because we had such a good experience during my internship, and then, throughout the years, my jobs and volunteer positions have worked with that organization. So 11 years later, oh my God, no, that one's like 13 years later. Ugh.
Yeah, because that was
13.
kind of middle of college for you.
Yeah. Yikes. So, yeah, probably like 12, 13 years ago, and then now look, it's like, okay, now I'm getting speaking positions because of it. So it's recognizing those good opportunities and just knowing that even if you don't intentionally try to reconnect with those people, you're probably going to meet them again. If it's within the same industry that you build a career out of.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes even people from certain industries go to other industries, right? And that unexpectedly can open doors for you. So I think no matter what, moral of the story is kind of shoot your shot and take advantage of the opportunities around you, even if it feels like maybe you don't want to take the top leadership role in that organization or that club or whatever it may be. Just find those ways to get involved, create those connections, and don't also allow potential, I don't want to, like, constructive criticism feel like it's the end. So like when Josh, for you, originally tore up that resume, for some people that could have been a moment of just, okay, well, I never want to put myself out there again, but look at it as an opportunity to improve and get better. And I think last fall when we talked with Caitlin and Amanda about networking, I think you talked about something similar, just every initial impression you make, or just every opportunity you have to, I think it was maybe be kind or be helpful or just be nice, offer help. That can go such a long way. Whether or not in that moment you realize I'm being nice because I'm trying to get a job, just being the best version of you in that connection, in that network, whoever you're talking to, people will remember that, can remember that.
Yeah. There's, this YDLI speaker, Ty Bennett.
Yep.
We had him, here's an example for him. He does such a good job at YDLI. We hired him for our annual meeting last week.
Very cool.
And his whole talk, his partnership is the new leadership, which is a bit different than this, but an example he gives is he wanted to get upgraded to an earlier flight. And the guy at the airport working said, I don't know, man, we'll get you on the list. And he yawned, and this Thai guy was like, oh, are you tired? He goes, yeah, I could just really use a Monster, man. It's just really early. And so this Thai guy saw a Monster in the airport while he was walking around. He thought, So he bought a Monster, said, hey, man, I know you've got a tough job. Here's a Monster.
Oh my gosh.
Guess who got upgraded to the earlier flight? The first one. So it's just, whenever you're nice to people or you listen, it doesn't have to be of monetary value, but like if you listen and then act on something that shows you listen to them, it goes a long way.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Also,
So
again,
always be nice to people, especially when you're young.
Yeah, I know. We can all look back now. Like, I'm 30, you're basically 33, and it can be easy to say, well, this is what you should do, what you should have done. And there's, of course, moments where, especially when you're younger or in college, it doesn't look perfect. You forget. It looks messy. But no matter what, as long as you're consistent, I think, with it and following up with people and taking advantages of the opportunity, that's really what can go a long way. Because even for me, I didn't necessarily have as straight of a career path as Becca, but what always led me to a next opportunity was connections and is going out of my way to try to foster relationships elsewhere. And that kind of ties into, which I feel like we already talked about it a little bit, but if there's any more insight you have onto it, Becca, because what started out with a career that was like, okay, I kind of made this my dream career a little bit, and then landed in a couple other positions to where you are now. How can younger people, and then even someone who's mid-career, it's like, how do you find a career and company you align with? And flip side of that as well, what if you're in a position of, okay, I don't like this job, but it's what I have right now. It's pretty much what I have available, or you really can't just find a job. How do you make the most out of that situation?
Well, and I feel like you'll have good insight into this one too.
Yeah, hopefully. I was kind of a butthead at the time going through the job searching process.
Yeah, but I mean, we're all young ones.
Yep.
And we're all we are what we are in our early 20s. So I just think you don't know until you do. So get over it.
Yes, suck it up.
Honestly, and just do the work. Like, I didn't know it was going to be my dream job until I started doing work. I could not have told you that I would have enjoyed partnering with the sales team to like plan events that matter to their customers. Like, I'm sorry, what 21-year-old, well, maybe some 21-year-olds know that. I did not. So, it was really, okay, my internships were super helpful because I at least had some general ideas of like, okay, maybe I want to work in politics. I worked for a local, I think he was a congressman.
I get so mixed up on what people are called or not, like
I can't
senator,
remember
congressman.
Oh no, he was a representative.
Yes,
Sorry. So Representative Jerry Stern, and like just some stuff I saw and some people I met and just like the way I was treated by, frankly, men, older male representatives as an intern at the Capitol in Harrisburg was awful. I was like, oh my God, this is real. Like, you are truly, this is truly a shiesty game.
You're the office siren.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, this is awful. So I was like, okay, politics aren't for me. Maybe someday, now that I'm not 18 and I thought everyone was out to get me. I mean, I saw some pretty gnarly stuff and like people were doing some...
I do not. Politics scary, man.
Yeah, so I had that experience. I was like, okay, well, I thought I wanted to be the first female secretary of Ag in Pennsylvania. Scrap it. So then I was like, okay, event planning and working with Farmers Center for Dairy Excellence. Love that. And then Beta Rudder. I just started blogging in college. I remember, I can't even remember what got me started on that. I have no idea. And I knew I liked writing and I liked social media. So, okay, I'll work for an agency, see what that's kind of like. And I liked marketing. So then when a Cargill marketing job came up, cool, I liked it. So then, I feel like I did enough things, and even my involvement in clubs just showed that I liked working with people. I liked leading. I liked organizing. And I liked creating scenarios or environments where people left feeling good. So I feel like I was always kind of chasing that. And then, through my different jobs, at Cargill, the dream ended. They restructured like big companies do every 5 years. I mean, they just did it again.
Yeah.
They're not like unique in that. And I got a job that was like equine social media. And back then I was like, oh, this is so cool. Now in hindsight, I'm like, that was like kind of a crappy job to get.
Yeah.
Like,
it was to transition out of it.
Yeah, because they only had one dairy marketing role left, and the person who got it obviously should have.
Yeah.
And I got this like equine social media role, and as I was being trained on it, a lot of it was answering DMs, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
The more I think about it, the more I'm like, I can't believe like that's the job they were going to give me.
And that you were maybe going to settle for it.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, like of my skill set and where I was really performing well, like that really kind of stunk. And so, but luckily I had a boss and other mentors who were like, hey, you know what? Maybe you should reach out to Beta Rudder again. Maybe this is a good time to transition there. So I took their advice, worked at Beta Rudder, realized pharmaceuticals, not my thing. But I kept doing it because working at a marketing agency, I realized was like MBA on steroids.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never learned so much so fast as I did at a marketing agency. So I knew, even though I didn't necessarily like working on a pharmaceutical account, because it was just like, there's no creative freedom.
Yeah, it's pretty strict on the laws and rules with it.
Yeah. So that was kind of an example of, I didn't really like it. And then, so I started, just like kind of like putting feelers out there. And then someone reached out to me about Zimpro. And I was like, oh, I've never had any global experience. So I applied for that one, realized through it, I was like, I don't like global. I don't feel tied to anything. I feel like I'm just kind of, I don't know, it just felt too broad.
Yep.
So then I was like, okay, so, and I also don't like multi-species. So through these jobs, I realized, okay, I like dairy. I like being closer to the customer. So then a brand manager for a regional cooperative came up, and I'm like, I've always wanted to work in food and beverage. Like, how cool would it be to market actual food?
Yep.
I want to work with dairy farmers again, and I want to be something that's closer to home that I can actually touch and feel. Boom, here I am. So it's like, I don't know, through all those jobs, it was like realizing each one was something I've never done. And I've been trying to discover, like, what do I like? What do I not like? And so you just do.
Yeah. I love that. And I think it really leans into, you know, going with the flow, but more than that, not being so torn up about maybe having to make those transitions. And I think, again, our generation and with more ways to find opportunity now, I think we're all more okay with recognizing, you know what, it's okay if I'm not going to stick with this job forever. Or if it's been a year, it's been 2 years and I don't align with this anymore, I'm going to go find something else that I align with. And I think that you going through that scenario, because you were with Cargill for quite a long time, and it was probably...
Yeah, like 6 years.
Yeah, so probably leaving that was scary.
Well, yeah, and I, like, did all of these job transitions over a course of probably 4 to 4 years.
Yeah.
And it was all during COVID. And there were some other jobs in there, too, that, I know this is a question ahead of time, where, like, some of them would have required a really big move. Well, the Beta Rudder one, I negotiated, like, working from home.
Yeah.
Because I had just met Joe.
Ha ha ha.
And I was like, no, I'm
Yeah.
not going to move. So a couple of jobs declined me because I didn't want to move because of I just met Joe. And so, yeah. But Em, I know, what about you? Like, I mean, you made the most. You started the Dairy Girl Fitness empire because you didn't like your jobs. So it's like, if you're not happy, do something about it.
Yeah. Well, and I think as well what you just said about the movie part, which it all kind of ties together, right? But when looking at a career or a job, right? A career, I feel like, oh, this has to be forever, right? So whether it's a career, whether it's a job, whatever opportunity it is, really recognize what are your trade-offs, and does that align with your trade-offs? And it's okay if it does or it doesn't. I think that's what's going to be most important to you, is knowing that you may not love, and honestly, the dream job, that's such and the dream career, I feel like that's a term that's been thrown around for so long that it almost sets up unrealistic expectations that you have to love.
None of my jobs have been a dream.
Yeah, like, you're still working. I don't dream of working, y'all.
Literally, that's the thing.
I don't want to work.
You know what I dream of? Taking Pilates at 9:30 a.m.
I don't
after I've
wanna
slept
work.
in, and then I eat lunch, and then I play tennis, and then I play pickleball.
And then we have martinis, which I don't even love
And
martinis.
then I snuggle with my dog.
Yes.
Like, are you kidding me? No, I don't dream of working.
I know. So I think that's been an
Get outta
expectation
here.
of, like, trying to push the American dream of, yeah, you're going to love it. You have to love it. And that's just not reality. You are most likely not going to be in a career or a job that I love every single aspect of this. It's perfect.
No.
There's going to be things you dislike, but it's looking for things that make it worth it to you, right? Whether it's the people, whether it's the flexibility, whether it's the work that you get to do. I think that's a really important thing to look for and recognize. And for me, I couldn't really find any of that out of college. So a little bit of my story is, you know, I did all the right things. I had all the internships, held all the big positions and all, like, the clubs. I had a great GPA. I did the networking. And
mind you, I had a shitty GPA.
Yeah, so the GPAs don't always matter.
Not as shitty, but, like, compared to Emmy's.
I'm a genius. Just kidding.
Yeah,
I like
it was
school.
not even
I
close.
like getting good grades.
I did not care.
But
I mean, it just shows that, like...
yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it shows the power of networking and of creating those connections, right?
And being in the right place at the right time.
Yes. And for me, I put myself into wrong place, right time, I guess. It all ended up being right. But I moved to Georgia afterwards because of Ruben. And I knew that was going to change my opportunities a little bit. And it definitely did. For me, thought I love dairy marketing, dairy promotion in some capacity. I want to show people how these products are awesome, why people should be consuming them. And there's just not as much dairy in the South. And honestly, dairy promotion jobs, dairy marketing jobs are a little bit limited anyways.
Yeah, there's not many.
Yeah, and so then moving to the South, which again, there's of course still dairy here, but just not as much. So I had an internship with Fibro Animal Health Company. At one point, I was a credit analyst at a state bank in Georgia. That was so fucking boring. I was in a cubicle, y'all. It was the worst. And that's so dramatic. It was just very boring. Great people. But luckily, then we moved to Florida, so I had to quit. I was like, phew, easy way out, because I'm a wussy, and I don't want to quit. And then I moved to Florida. Still couldn't really find anything. I did kind of like subscription calls and made some content for a dairy magazine that doesn't even exist anymore. And then I landed at a dairy feed mill that was local to us. And even that got me back in dairy, but I was chained to a desk from 50 plus hours a week, didn't make a lot of money, and the people in it were good, but it just felt very stagnant. And I recognized I'm pretty stuck here. I mean, it's a smaller company. There's not really a lot of room I can grow with this. And throughout this time, I had not a terrible mindset. Like, we are pretty bubbly, positive people in general, but there were a lot of moments that I was just frustrated, got caught into the why me mentality, the victim mentality of what is going on? Why is this happening to me? I'm doing like all the things right. Even at one point, I applied to work at freaking Pet Paradise, which is, I don't know if they have that nationally, but it's definitely like within the South. It's a dog boarding and cat boarding. It's a pet boarding facility. And they didn't even respond back. So there was just a lot of moments of like, this is it. No one wants to hire me. I will do anything at this point. I just want a job.
You were probably too qualified to work at Pet Paradise. Let's be real.
But like, just let me play with the doggies. Which it all worked out, because throughout all of this, I really learned that, and probably looking back now more than while I was in it, but just mindset is key around that, and looking at all these opportunities as stepping stones. And how can I try to make the most of where I'm at when I'm in it? And again, that can be easier said than done when you're looking back. But honestly, when you're in a career or a job that you don't love, you can still take something away from that. And kind of like what you said earlier, Becca, just also if you find yourself in a situation that you don't like, ultimately you're the only one who can change that. And you have to take responsibility for that. And being in these situations forced me to really realize that I can keep whining, I can keep complaining. No one's going to get a job for me. No one's going to swap out this career for me. And that's when, throughout all of that, I started Dairy Girl Fitness simply as an Instagram page. And before I even had the job with the feed mill, and while at the feed mill, I realized I hate being chained to this office. So I had no flexibility, didn't make a lot of money, which also, like, okay, I would love to make a little bit more money. And I just want to be able to travel. I remember that Christmas, while I was working there, they wouldn't let me go home to visit family because only one person out of the office could leave. And there was another guy who was from Ohio, so he got it first. And the fact that I couldn't come home for Christmas pissed me off and made me so sad. And that was a trade-off that I recognized that, you know what, no matter what I do, this can't be it. I need something with flexibility. And that's when I started to really kind of go gung-ho into turning Dairy Girl Fitness into a business that I could eventually go full-time with. So a little bit of a different path, but for me, it was learning what really makes something worth it to me. For me, I love flexibility. I love I'm not very structured. I love having something that kind of gives me a lot of play, a lot of ability to kind of do what I want. And to eventually, I did get into dairy marketing or promotion in my own way. But I had to take the scary leap and step of going out on my own and doing that. And so I went a different route of going from kind of a traditional career being employed to self-employed entrepreneurship. And for me, I recognized that's a trade-off I am willing to make because entrepreneurship isn't for everyone and sometimes, may not be forever for me. But that was a trade-off that I was willing to make.
Yeah. And I think, too, that goes nicely into this idea of how do you create a life where you work to live and not live to work. Mm-hmm. And I think millennials becoming bosses are helping create that culture. And
yes.
Who knows what kind of terrible thing we're doing wrong. Like, if Gen Z is going to say, you ruined it, and then they'll do something for Gen Alpha, and the cycle continues, right? Because we always mess it up for the next one. But I truly do think after like watching people just nose to the grindstone and that's all you do is work.
Ugh.
And the other thing I've been thinking is, okay, we're coming from a very corporate perspective.
True.
Right? Or even you. Like, let's just summarize us as corporate.
I work from my computer, my phone mostly.
It's not the same if you're on farm, like if you're a farmer, right? I think you can take some things away from this, but just know that we understand our perspective is from
Very good point.
people who aren't tied to land and animals, which makes some of our things sound like we're making it sound a lot easier than what it is. So, but I still think, this idea of all you have is work, nah.
Can be very toxic. Even with
I had
animal
that
ag.
and then I got rid of it, and I'm so much happier now. And I think another thing is like understanding, why don't you like a job? Is it truly the job, or like you can't just quit a job because you're unhappy because you're unhappy
because you're working,
Yeah, it's like, okay, let's dig in and figure out what the real reason is. And a lot of mine was always I had not found the balance between work and life. And when I met Joe, it totally shifted my perspective on work. And some of that agency job was just like, this is too intense for me. This does not allow the flexibility that I want. And so I think it just kind of hits you at some point if you work a lot when you're younger, that you're just like, wait a second. I want to like my job and I want to appreciate and respect the people I work with and I work for. That's the thing, is like, I need to respect who I'm working for.
Yes.
And I need to like the people I'm working with. And generally, I need to be able to shut the job off when I want to shut it off. Like, I can't be thinking about it late into the night. Like, that's not my thing. So I think those are the things I've learned to make sure I have that balance of like, yeah, I like my job and I think I'm making a difference. I respect the people. I like it. But when it hits like 5 to 5:30, peace out, y'all. Like, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah.
And I'll see you again at 8 a.m., not a freaking second before.
Yeah.
Unless it's a special event. But that's just the way I've decided to create my boundaries and what makes me the most happy. I almost said the most happiest.
Because you're just so happy.
I'm a bundle of joy.
But it's true, though, because I think it's so important to recognize that in whatever career, job, position, whatever it is that we have, we are so valuable, right? We bring a very unique set of skills and we bring so much of a different perspective. There's just so much that we can bring, and we are valued and we are important and we can make a difference. And that's never to undermine ourselves, but ultimately we are replaceable. We are temporary.
There's a bazillion people out there.
Yeah, and I think that is so important to remember. Again, not to bring yourself down, but to give yourself a reality check of, oh my God, I could never leave this job. They couldn't do this without me. Or I couldn't.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah.
I'm proof.
Yeah. Or I can't try this new idea because what if it fails? Like, okay, we'll just go get another job then, and there's different scenarios that it may be bigger risk, but we are temporary. We are replaceable. And again, it's not a bad thing, but it's a reality check of you can enjoy your career and you can work really hard at it and you can kick ass and you are making a difference. And I love that you're doing that, but you can't forget to build up your life in other ways outside of that are long-term. So the relationships, the hobbies, taking care of yourself, whatever that may be for you outside of work, those are the things that last forever, that are ultimately going to be the thing you look back on and wish, wow, I wish I did more of that. Because no one ever looks back. There's the book of, what is it, like the 5 regrets of dying people. It's a really good book, 5 or 10. And one of them is, I wish I worked less. So I think it's making sure that you have that balance. And again, even if you are someone who is in agriculture, animal ag, in a little bit more of a labor-intensive position, maybe you can, of course, take off in the capacity that people in more corporate jobs do, but you still need to make sure you're taking time for yourself. And I think we're seeing more farmers and ranchers doing that.
I would love to talk to someone who I feel like I have, but I think, you know, to balance out our experience, actually, plug Dairy Girl Network, we're working on a sharing wisdom event that one thing we've challenged ourselves on is to try to find the right farmer perspective of this. And not, there's a lot of women who are like corporate and farmer. So there's the farm, but they have a job off the farm. And it's like, I want to hear from someone who is on the farm all the time. How have you built that career? And then how do you do things like we're talking about? Because when you live on the land you're farming and you can see the cows out the window,
Me right
like,
now.
how do you do this? So, but I think that, yeah, I don't know. I just, this whole like working to live or living to work is just such a, nah.
Yeah. Well, you talked
I'm
about,
out.
and then we'll get off our high horse, but you talked about quickly from a true like farmer perspective where you're in it all day, every day. That's my, like the family-in-law that I married into, right? My family-in-law. I think it's recognizing that at some points in your job, in your career, there is going to be moments of grinding, of where you do have to make those sacrifices. And you do have to recognize, hey, maybe from the start, I'm not going to have as much balance. I am really going to have to maybe make a trade-off of just knowing I'm not going to have a lot of flexibility or free time, right? So it is recognizing there's seasons for that, but don't make it a forever thing, right? So like Eileen and Harry, those are Ruben's parents. When they moved over from Holland in the 90s and got this dairy here in Georgia, they literally never left. They had to be here to build up the dairy. Eileen had Ruben, and he basically grew up in the milking parlor because they didn't have the help, and they had to be there growing it and building it. And it was like that for quite a while for them. And that could be for anyone in a corporate career, whatever kind of job. And so it is recognizing there's the seasons of that. But now, because they really did grind out to it, they have more flexibility now, and they've been able to bring in other people to help, and they have a pretty solid work-life balance. And I can even think of a previous client of mine and just a friend, Emmy. It's the Brooms Bloom sisters. Like, they're on the farm. They do different dairy products. They go to farmers markets, and that's a grind, right? But also, they'll go out and do fun things. Like, Emmy went to Costa Rica with me and took that, week plus long vacation, knowing that, okay, you're grinding it out most of the time, but still taking some sort of time for yourself is so important.
Yeah, 100%.
I love it.
I don't know. And some of these other questions, I feel like we've kind of answered.
I know. I was going to look at the move part of like, oh, what if I have to move for a job? Again, it's if you're willing to make that trade-off. And I think as long as you're willing to create a life outside of that job, that's how you make the most of it. And just knowing that moving's hard. You're going to feel homesick kind of no matter where you end up. Like, I've been gone since 2017 and I love what I have here, but I still always feel a little bit of homesick. So it's recognizing there's going to be potential pieces of you everywhere, and that's kind of a beautiful thing. But I think as long as you continue to really foster connections, go out of your way to create hobbies and not make work your life in that way, that's how I've handled it, really. And again, I know I was lucky to move for like Ruben, really.
You
so I
moved
had
for
that.
love, though.
Yeah, that's
You
what I
moved
had
for
that there. So
love.
my perspective's different of just moving,
Yeah.
being completely solo.
Yeah, I would say
You did for an internship.
that. Yeah, I was gonna say do it for an internship. Like move away.
See how you like
to
it.
Milwaukee, which was a 12-hour drive. Move away. See what you think. I loved it. Honestly, if Dad hadn't gone sick, I probably would have moved back to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So, who knows? But I mean, I tried it. I liked it. I was young. I was free. I was like, oh, this is so much fun. But then again, it was the summer. It was the summer I turned 21. I had a great
the best
roommate.
time to do it.
Like literally in Milwaukee in the summer, Wisconsin, there's a bar on every corner. So it was like a bit brighter than what it would have actually been to move away.
When you're there in the middle of December and it's like, or January, past Christmas.
Yeah.
This sucks.
But still, I tried it. And I would encourage, I know one of our cousins is moving to Fargo, North Dakota for an internship.
That's wild.
And so it's like, good. Go figure it out. Go see if you like it. So now you know. I know what it's like to be away from home, though mine wasn't necessarily a fair representation of being away from home. I was just
That's fun,
partying
though.
with friends all summer. Like, come
That
on.
could be your life if you want it to be still.
Yeah, but that was like kind of just a mirage of what
What real life
what
is
life
like.
would be like. So, but I think we've covered, and then the mindset is just having a doer's mindset.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna figure it out as you go.
Yeah, take responsibility for your actions, knowing that, okay, you can't control everything that happens to you. And in the moment, it's allowed to suck. You're allowed to feel frustrated, but also know you're going to have to be the one who controls how you move forward from that and how you react from that. And really just of how you make the most of a situation. And also knowing that, again, the comparison game, that's the thing that can get so many people trapped. So whether you do choose to move away, or whether you choose to stay home, or whether you choose to go chase a big career, or you want to do something small and awesome, but it brings you a ton of joy, it all matters. It all brings value in its own different way. So there's no right or wrong way to do things. I mean, like, don't go be a jerk. That's wrong. But yeah, your path gets to be your path for a reason. That doesn't make it more or less valuable than someone else's.
Yeah, and I mean, I have had now 15 years of experience of internships and jobs. So, like, I did not overnight land in all of these positions. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. You've just got to go through it. You've just got to do it.
You gotta suck it up. I mean, sometimes.
Just do it.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
I think that's all the advice we have for the day.
I'm so excited. Is it time to go into our weekly? Also, we hope this was helpful, but I'm just too excited. We have to go into our weekly hot take now. And so I love the Today Show. I'm a Today Show girly. And it was actually on April Fool's that they posted this, but it's real. So Popeyes, which, like, I don't know anyone who's a consistent Popeyes eater.
Because it fucking sucks.
Wow, our hot take is obviously so obvious already.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Popeyes came out with a pickle menu items. And
yeah, I was convinced it was fake.
Yeah, well, because they have pickle lemonade. And the Today Show tried this on April Fool's, but they tried it on the show. So I thought, this can't be fake. I mean, they literally have it on the show. And I thought, okay, pickle lemonade. They said it wasn't bad. And I told Becca, because I'm not near Popeyes anymore. Oh, darn. But I wanted to try this specifically. I said, Becca, I want our weekly hot take to be this pickle lemonade. Is it worth the hype, or is it terrible? Is it gross? So I asked Becca so kindly to do some research for us last night. And Becca, just talk about your experience. And this will be the hot take, because I have not yet tried it. I'm curious, though.
So I texted
she spoiled it
chat
for
last
us.
night. I was like, what did I say? For the record, Popeye effing sucks.
She used the full F word, though. She was angry last night.
I was so mad because my stomach hurt too after eating it. I was like, bottom of the fast food chain, no questions asked. And then we all went on to share stories of how we thought we were going to. Popeyes are always in really terrible parts of town. And I remember in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania at the All American Dairy Show, literally, it did not feel safe. You know what? It is what it is. It was not in a safe area.
No.
And it felt like we were going to be robbed or...
For gross, bad, average chicken.
Yes. And so what I got last night from Popeyes, Joe picked it up on the way. We've had Popeyes maybe twice. And it's always been to, like, try something new. Like their spicy chicken sandwich, when all the chicken sandwiches, like, that was trending. You know, we wanted to... whatever. We love chicken sandwiches. And so... I got the pickle sandwich, pickle chips, and the pickle lemonade. I didn't get the pickle wings. Whatever.
Oh.
Basically, pickled chicken nuggets is what they were. Well, and then so Joe also got a sandwich. They completely forgot his sandwich.
Was it the same kind?
No, he just got a spicy chicken sandwich.
That's what he
gets. They just, like, only gave us one sandwich.
He didn't look?
No, I don't know why he didn't look. I was like, they always mess up. Why didn't you look? Idiot. Love him. I can't believe he didn't look.
Wasn't the Popeyes near your old apartment?
Yeah. Yeah. And so, which is in a very safe part about tuna, like the main
Literally the
drag.
strip. Yeah.
And then my pickle sandwich, they literally just forgot the things that were supposed to be on it, and
To
only
make it a
half of
pickle.
only half of it was covered in the pickle sauce. It didn't have any of the slaw, so like it wasn't even completely made.
How do you cover half a sandwich in sauce? That is so
You
weird.
literally have to try. You have to try to
They're
be
like,
this
"Fuck these
fucking
people."
bad at your job. and so, and it's not even that good. It's all breading, no chicken. So
Yeah.
like only half of it was in pickle. So I'm like, well, this is dumb. Pickle chips, cold, flavorless. It would just all tasted like batter. It was gross.
No. So zero.
It was so below average. But then the pickle lemonade, I thought about filming myself, then turned on my camera, and I was like, wow, no, we're not. We're not filming this right now. Because I had a hat on all day, and it was like my hair was bad, and I was like, no, and Joe was in a terrible mood because they forgot
Because he didn't get a sandwich. He's starving. I'm hungry.
And so then he was also, anyways. And so I tried the pickle lemonade, and I was like, it's actually not that bad.
Is this only not bad because the other things were so bad?
I think so. And so it tasted like it should have been like a pickle martini or a pickle cocktail. Like it had a cocktaily vibe. It needed some gin in it or something.
Ooh.
But so yeah, Popeyes is the worst, and I'm putting them on blast. I think I might tag them on social media.
Like, you guys have the worst customer service I've ever seen in my life.
Popeyes is unbelievably bad.
It's the service. I think I've only ever gone 2 or 3 times.
Like,
and the service is terrible every time.
I cannot explain how awful that experience was. And then my stomach hurt last night. My stomach hurt this morning.
That's why Becca couldn't find a high. She was in a haze of hatred for Popeyes.
I'm so mad. I wasted calories. I wasted dinner. I wasted time. It
First
made my
world
husband
problems,
mad.
man.
And then he was like, "Fine,
And
I'll just eat the leftover pizza." I was like, "Wait, don't you have to take that tick?" Because he had to get medicine for the one tick bite.
Oh, God.
I was like, "Didn't the doctor say no dairy with that tick bite?" He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
I'll just eat the sauce and the bread.
Oh my God,
I
it
love
was
that-
so bad. Like literally, they didn't even. So I didn't even get the full experience because I'm pretty sure our pickle chips were from April 1st, and
April Fools for the rest of April.
Fools. You thought you would like this, so it's a bummer. Popeye sucks.
Wait. So the pickle lemonade. Then we'll move on. We'll wrap it up. Was it sweet and kind of tangy?
It was like a
Because
bread
I'm
and
not going
butter.
to try it.
I don't know. It was almost like just pickle with a little bit of bread and butter, or lemonade with like bread and butter pickle juice in it. It was like a little sweet and tangy.
Interesting.
It wasn't super pickly. Also, they didn't put any ice in the drinks,
What the heck?
so it was just like lukewarm pickle lemonade.
They really tried to maybe.
Well, Joe said before he ordered it, he's like, they're gonna mess something up. I was like, well, why'd you put that into the universe? He's like, I didn't. Popeyes did. So it's his fault.
They messed everything up though. They really.
Yeah.
I mean, what time did you get this at?
Like 6 o'clock.
Okay, so it's not even like closing time. They're annoyed that you placed an
No.
order.
No.
Go leave
So
a bad
anyways.
Yelp review.
Now that I'm all fired up for my work day.
Yes, you have so much energy going to your first meeting because of your
I'm gonna
Popeye's
be
hatred.
mean to someone on accident because I'm still so mad.
Well, go
I'm
eat something nice for
it's not
breakfast.
you. It's not you. It's Popeyes. I'm sorry.
They'll think it's funny because I'm sure everyone has a universal terrible Popeyes experience if you've ever gone there.
Yeah, we were having some really funny ones. Our older sister Erin had a really funny one about how she felt so uncomfortable there that she hid the key in the car when they were drunk and they could not find it for days.
Yeah, we're never going
She
there.
hid it so well.
We're not going anywhere actually now.
So
Well, we've had a couple different twists and turns in this conversation, just like our careers. But I hope
oh my God.
in some capacity there was some helpful tidbits in this conversation. Whether you are in college, you're graduating from college, or you are well into your career, I think it can always be helpful to have just a little bit of an honest conversation about work, careers, life, and how to try to have fun with all of it. And I would say a pro tip to that, don't eat Popeyes if you want to live a good life.
Skip it.
Ever again. But
We did the research for you, so you don't have to.
yeah, shout out to Becca for that. Let's everyone give Becca an applause. Yay, thanks, Becca. And on that note, we so appreciate Becca, of course, but also everyone listening. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, of course, please subscribe, share, rate, review, leave comments, whatever you do. And you can find us on all social media at Cowgirl Talk. And thanks for tuning in, y'all.
And as always, have a great day, cowgirls. Unless you're
Bye.
Popeyes. Bye.
Bye.